friends and vinyl community. It's Brian from Brian's Vinyl Records, and it's time for my June vinyl haul. I'm really doing a bad job at buying less vinyl, but I have sold quite a bit of vinyl too, so not enough to offset what I bought, but at least make some space. June was a good month. We had Record Store Day Drop 2, so we'll start there, but I also have some cool soundtracks that I picked up, a couple of gifts that I'm really excited about, and a couple box sets that I picked up as well. So let's get into it. Let's start with Record Store Day. And the first thing I picked up at Record Store Day, this is actually the last thing I picked up at Record Store Day because I wasn't quite sure if I really wanted it or not. And I'm glad I picked it up. That's Collective Soul's Discipline Breakdown. This is one of the albums I had gotten out of the kind of hard rock, grunge, alternative rock phase when I started college and got real into country music at the time. So a lot of the bands that I was really enjoying at the end of my high school days kind of fell on the wayside, and I just stopped following their careers. So this is an album that came out late 90s, and it just wasn't one that I knew. I picked up the CD about 6 or so months back and really enjoyed it, but you know, it's not one that I'm overtly familiar with. So I wasn't sure I was going to pick this up or not, but I did, and I'm glad I did. It sounds absolutely fantastic. It's a really good album from Collective Soul, too. Enjoyed it a lot. It comes on this sweet red vinyl. Craft Recordings did this one. They did an excellent job. I am very impressed with Craft Recordings. They do just great work. And so, yes, this is a great album. Glad I picked this up. Waffled on it for a little while, but decided ultimately that it should come in my collection. There were really two albums that I was after on Record Store Day and hoping to get, and I was second in line at the store. I knew how many copies of this particular album I'm going to show next they had, so I was good. I knew I was going to get it, and that is Slash and with Miles Kennedy and Conspirators. This is live at Studio 60, which I believe is a Gibson facility. This was released by Gibson Records, Gibson Guitar Company, and this is really, really good. So this is a studio type album, but done live, no cuts or anything like that. So they just play the songs, what you get is what you get, and that's what we have here. So it's not like a live audience is there, there's no audience, it's just in the studio, set up, play through the songs, rock and roll, and it sounds killer. This is awesome. So this is Record Store Day, live at CO 60. Gibson, like I said, put this out. I didn't know they were putting out records. Maybe it's just because they have a big deal with Slash, I don't know. But I really like this album a lot. It's straight black vinyl, and it features mostly songs from the newest album, but also some of their big classics that they have on some of their previous albums as well. And it's awesome. Highly recommend it. If you can still get a copy of this and you like the Slash with the Miles Kennedy stuff, pick this up. It's really good. And then, of course, the one that everyone here in Minnesota was looking for, and this is probably one of my favorite Prince albums. This is artist formerly known as Prince, The Gold Experience. I loved this album when it came out. It was my senior year of high school, and I just was in love with this album. Picked it up at Target at the time on CD. This is where I worked at the time, and it was in my car a lot, and it was jammed a lot. So fast forward, I've wanted this on vinyl forever, and to buy a copy of this on vinyl was super expensive. Super expensive. When they announced that they were going to put this out on Record Store Day, this is the one I knew I needed to have. Luckily, they pressed 22,000 of these albums, so it wasn't going to be hard to find, especially here in Minnesota. I was able to pick it up right away and super excited. It sounds so good. It's on this really cool, it's supposed to be like a gold, but it's more like a yellow-orange vinyl, and fantastic. Highly recommended. If you haven't listened to that album before from Prince, it's well worth your time. And the other thing I picked up on Record Store Day, I picked up one used record. This is one I've been wanting for a long time, and it's a funny story. I saw it there. I paid, I believe, like $40-some for it. This is Michael Jackson's Bad 25, the 25th anniversary. And the reason I really wanted this one is because it has the song Leave Me Alone on it, which is not on any other vinyl pressing that they've done. It's a great tune. It was released on certain CDs back in the day when it came out. It was never on my CD. I learned about it through the Moonwalker video, and it was one of the music videos he had done for the album. and never was able to find that song on anything that I wanted before. And so super excited that they put it on this, but then this sold out and I couldn't find it anywhere. Well, there it was hanging on the wall. I got 10% off of the price they had listed, so it brought it into the 40s. I was super happy. I picked it up. I went home and I was going to remove it from my Amazon wish list, and what happens? Amazon got a restock. Unreal. Either way, super happy to have this. It's fantastic. Like I said, it has the song Leave Me Alone on it, and I'm happy to have it. I have the CD version of this, which is great, and it comes with the video of the Japan show, but super happy to finally put that into my Michael Jackson collection. All right, so shortly after Record Store Day, I think the next weekend, my local record store had their VIP sale. And what that was is they were, giving VIP members 20% off all vinyl, CD, cassette, everything in store above a certain price point. And so I had to go check that out. And I picked up a few things that I have been wanting for a while, but just wasn't in stock, or was just more than I wanted to pay for certain things. We'll start with, this isn't one of them. This is just one that they had out in front. A bunch of records that are, in shape that they wouldn't want to put it on the floor for a normal price. So they were bargain bins. I picked up Crosby, Stills and Nash, their debut album. This is fantastic. Cleaned up really nicely. There's a few bits of surface noise here and there, but overall, it's in great shape for playing, and really enjoyed it. So nice gatefold. This is an original pressing as well, and like I said, a few dings and scuffs and stuff like that on it that do cause a little bit of noise, but overall a great listening experience. So happy to have added that to my collection. All right, so the first two things that I picked up while I was there, these are ones I wanted. I have copies that are really beat up, old versions, and I've heard that the new remix of these are fantastic, so I had to get them, but they're expensive for a new record, rightfully so, but I was able to really go for it and pick these up. This is the Beatles 1962 to 1966, and then I got also the Beatles 1967 to 1970. So I picked both these up finally. I haven't listened to them yet. I'm looking forward to giving them a spin. I've heard nothing but good things about them, and it'll be nice to have them on crisp, clear vinyl instead of my old beat-up copies that I got in dollar bins back in the day. There's one other thing that I picked up, but I'll save that for the soundtrack section, so I'll mention it when I get there. A couple of reissues and new releases that came out, really mostly reissues. We'll start with this one here. This is Samantha Fish, phenomenal blues player. Really, really love her. This one has not been on vinyl, I don't believe, before, and so they finally pressed it. This one is called Black Wind Howlin'. It, I believe, is like her second album that she released, so super excited when this was announced. Black vinyl, Rough Records in Germany. Super excited to have that. Another one that I got was the music on vinyl pressing of Tonic's Lemon Parade. This has the big hit, If You Could Only See Yourself and Open Up Your Eyes. A really, really good album from that alternative rock scene in the late 90s. And yeah, super excited to have it. Sounds absolutely fantastic. Of course, it's music on vinyl pressing, so it's going to sound great. I was super pumped about this one when it was announced that it was coming out. I pre-ordered it right away and finally got that in. This is Rhino Buckets, and then it got Ugly. This is one that was, I believe, 2007 this came out, and it is awesome. It's an interesting one. I bought it digitally when it first came out, so I've had a copy of it digitally. I never found a CD of it, and then finally got this on vinyl, and it sounds fantastic. It's on this really cool, clear Coke bottle colored vinyl. This was Acetate Records who released it originally. They put it out on vinyl, did a great job with it. Super pumped about this. Great band. If you like AC/DC, I can't recommend Rhino Bucket enough. They have that classic AC/DC sound, and their singer has a very Bon Scott-esque voice, and just great stuff. And this next one, waited for over a year for this one to come out. vinyl production delays. Delayed it and delayed it and delayed it and delayed it. Finally, it's here. It came out, I believe they started shipping these in probably March, April. I can't even remember. No, they said they were going to ship in March and April. It didn't come until June that they started shipping them. Mine was sent in the end of May. It didn't make it to me till almost the end of June, and I'm super pumped about it. Kiss My Wax Records released Slaughter, Fear No Evil. Man, I remember this came out. I bought it digitally. I burned it to CD, and this thing didn't leave my car for a good 2 years. It was so good, and it is my favorite Slaughter album of all that they've done. And I just was super pumped when they announced this. I pre-ordered it right away with the announcement, and they offered a box set version, and then this version, which is the standard version, which comes on this really cool smoky red vinyl. I wanted that. I thought this was the cooler of the two. I didn't need all the extras that were coming in the box set, and the price was pretty high, pretty steep, so I didn't want to pay that. But super happy with this. It sounds phenomenal. Sounds so good. Hard to get on CD, hard to get on, never available to get on vinyl. So, you know, a CD will set you back $20 to $30 of this album because it's just so hard to find. Nobody bought it back in the day, and they're just not around. So super pumped to finally have this on vinyl, on physical media, period. You know, like I said, I had a digital copy that I burned to disc. I still have the burned disc actually lying around, and so good. They did an awesome job with this pressing, tip-on jackets, just absolutely great. Well done, Kiss My Wax Records. I am super happy. Cannot wait. They're releasing The Wildlife next and moving on in the Slaughter category to some of the other titles as well. Can't wait for that. I have my Wildlife pre-ordered. Hopefully early next year we'll have that one in our hands as well. All right. Next up, I want to talk about some gifts that I received from some really good friends in the vinyl community. I can't thank them enough. They are just awesome people. And the first one was sent by my buddy Norman, who I've traded albums with in the past, and he's just very generous with what he does. He goes on picks, and anything he has duplicates of, sometimes he'll sell to people in the group, sometimes he'll just give you them. And in this case, he had an album in there that I really wanted, was willing to pay for, but when he inspected it, it had a large scratch on one of the sides. I told him I didn't care, I would like to get it anyway, just because it was a cool piece for my collection. So he said, okay, I'll send it to you. He felt really bad about it, that he wanted to send me something else. So he kept sending me different albums that he had duplicates of, and most of them I already had, or they weren't bands that I was really big on. I told him it's no big deal, just send me the one, it's fine. But he insisted, and so the one that he ended up sending me is this one here, Grand Funk's Survival album. A really good album, not one I'm very familiar with. Not very familiar with Grand Funk at all, so it was kind of fun to dig into this. Great sound, and capital, kind of like a lime green, a puke green label. I've not seen that one before, so that's a new one to me. But yeah, Grand Funk Survival. But the one that I really wanted from him, no matter what, even though it was scratched, was this, because it's so cool. Supergirl soundtrack. How neat is this? Yeah, Supergirl. I thought it was just cool. I didn't care if the vinyl was beat to crap, and it plays fine. There's a couple spots in it that have a lot of noise, where the scratches and ticks and stuff, but it's still a good listen, and that is just really cool to have in my collection. A funny thing with this one is whoever bought it must have really liked a certain scene in the movie, because they cut across the whole cover to take out that picture that was there. Not sure why, but the back cover has a nice long cut along the whole thing, and that picture is removed, whatever it was. But still, super cool to have Supergirl in my soundtrack collection. The other one came from a friend of mine named Chris, and I had talked about, I posted my Star Wars stuff in many videos and in my groups, and I talked about wanting to get them all. And the one of the original trilogy I was missing was Return of the Jedi. he took that to note and said he'd be on the lookout for one. And lo and behold, like a week or two later, he sends me a message saying, hey, I need your address. And I said, what for? And I gave it to him, and he said, I'm sending you Return of the Jedi. He goes, I found a copy locally, picked it up, and I'm sending it to you. And here it is. I'm super pumped about this. I just recently got Empire Strikes Back. In fact, I believe last month. It's in the video. And I said I need Return of the Jedi. I literally had a copy sitting in my Discogs cart. And it was going to cost me around $50 some. And then he messaged me and said, I have a copy, and sent it. I cleaned it up. It sounds fantastic. It's got the insert in it. You know, comes on the RSO label, and I couldn't be happier about it. So thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate your generosity. This is truly a great gift. So now on to the prequels. I have 2 that I need from there, and then I'll have all of the movie soundtracks minus the solo soundtrack. All right, since we're in soundtracks, let's keep going. This one I picked up for my son. My 8-year-old son is a huge fan of both Sing and Sing 2, and I brought it home and he was super pumped, told me to put it on, and he sang almost every word to every song on here. It was really cool. So I'm super happy to have that, this nice cool purple vinyl, and yeah, just a real good fun soundtrack for him. I actually finally watched part of the Sing movie with him while we were on vacation this last week, and yeah, he just loves that movie, so he was super excited to have that soundtrack. Next up, this is one I bought because a few people in the VC have said this sounds absolutely killer and is a really good record. Now, I have not seen the movie. I tried to watch it once and just didn't get into it right away, so I will have to try again. And I didn't read the book or any of that stuff, but this is a killer soundtrack composed by members of Toto. This is Dune, soundtrack to Dune, and it sounds absolutely phenomenal. Black label, jackpot label, black vinyl, and if you can get a copy of this, I recommend it. Even if you don't like the movie or know the movie or have seen the movie, it's just really good music and really fun to listen to. So, highly recommended. All right, I mentioned that I picked up another piece on the 20% off sale that my local down the valley had. This was the other piece I picked up. This is the Matrix movie collection soundtrack. So I believe it's the first 3 movies. The soundtrack, or the scores, I should say, to them are in this piece right here. So it's 3 pieces of vinyl. Really cool. It was a little bit expensive, but with the 20% off, I was more than happy to pay the price to add this to my collection, and it sounds killer. Just a really good pressing. Next up, my other local record store had 20% off as well, and so I picked up a couple soundtracks from them. The first one being The Crimes of Grindelwald. This was used along with the Sing 2. I picked that up at the same time. It was a used record through them, and yeah, so Harry Potter music is always really fun to listen to, and these, of course, are stories in the Harry Potter universe, so I'm looking forward to giving these a spin. This was by James Newton Howard, so looking forward to that, Crimes of Grindelwald. And I also grabbed this one here, Forrest Gump soundtrack. So I just recently picked up the score to Forrest Gump, really enjoyed that, and so this one I figured I'd pick this up as well, and yeah, 20% off, so why not? And the next one, these came at the 20% off sale as well. I normally wouldn't have bought these at the price that they're at, but with 20% off, I just picked them all up at once. And these are the Stranger Things scores. This is Season 1, Volume 1. Comes on really cool blue. It's got really fun insert stuff in there. And yeah, sounds awesome. Then we've got Stranger Things Season 1, Volume 2. Okay, really cool. Look at that vinyl. Really nice. And this one had, I believe, a little poster inside of it. Then we have Stranger Things Season 2. Another really cool looking vinyl pressing there. And lastly, we have the score to Stranger Things 3, Season 3. And this is really cool. Look at that. Nice splatter vinyl on that one. This really, really cool. So, Season 4, I believe the soundtrack comes out in November. I don't know about the score yet, but we'll definitely be picking that up. All right, a couple other things that I picked up before we get to the box sets. Steel Panther Lower the Bar. I had this one previously on picture disc, and picture disc is picture disc. So I decided to pick up the standard green vinyl copy of Lower the Bar. If you know, you know. This was really cool. This has been on my want list for quite some time, and I just hadn't pulled the trigger, and finally just said screw it and bought it. This is Johnny Cash Forever Words, and what this is, it's a compilation of music artists getting together and taking some unknown writings from Johnny Cash, poems, letters, songs that he never finished, and making them into songs. You know, putting music to them and recording them as songs. And it's really, really cool. You got artists like Chris Cornell on here, Rustin Kelly and Casey Musgraves, Rosanna Cash, his daughter, Alison Krauss and Union Station, Brad Paisley, just a whole bunch of people taking Johnny's words that he had not released before and turning them into music. Super cool 2-disc set. Fantastic. Real fantastic. Highly recommended. Picked up one more, a Japanese pressing this month. Van Halen's debut album. Super pumped about this one. Sounds great. In really good shape. Super excited. And then lastly in the non-box set is something I've wanted for so long. As I've stated before in previous videos, probably a long time ago, and in some of the videos that I've done for contests, when my brother passed away in 1997 from a car accident, there was one album he had picked up recently, and both of us were into that artist. Now, he listened to more of the hip-hop stuff, and I listened more of the hard rock and metal stuff. But this artist is one that we both enjoyed, and he picked up the brand new album from them. And it was just, you know, months or weeks before he passed, and we had sat up in our bedroom. We shared a bedroom at the time, and we listened to this album together. And it's the last album I ever listened to with him, and it held a very special place in my heart. After the car accident, I went on a hunt to find the copy that he had, and it took me a while, and I finally got a hold of one of his best friends who had gone to the car after the accident and rescued his CDs. I had mentioned the CD, and he said, yep, I have it, brought it over to the house and gave it to me, and I still have it to this day. And when I originally was getting into vinyl, I went and found the album. Unfortunately, the album that I picked up was the anniversary edition. It had a whole different cover, and it just wasn't what I wanted, right? Wasn't happy with it, but I was happy to have a copy on vinyl. Fast forward several years now into collecting vinyl, and I just keep looking for this version. I had passed on it once at $40, and at the time I wasn't spending more than $40, and I already had a copy. I didn't know I wanted to spend $40 on an album I already had just because it had the cover I liked. Well, obviously things changed, and the prices went up a lot over the last couple of years, and I couldn't find it for a decent price. I kicked myself for not buying it at $40. And I was looking on Discogs, and I thought, well, let's just see what they have out there. And I'm looking on Discogs, and you know, I'm finding a few copies overseas, one or two here in the States, but the prices are insane. And I said, no, it's just, I'm not meant to be yet. Well, not more than 15 minutes later, I'm on Facebook, and one of the record stores that I follow posts videos of things that they've recently acquired, and I'm watching his video, and sure enough, this pops up in the video. I don't know if you guys believe in anything after life, but I do, and I think that it was just meant to be. I was just looking for this album and decided I wasn't going to pay the prices, and then lo and behold, this pops up at a record store that I bought from in the past, and I messaged and asked if it was still there. It was. I bought it, and here it is. The Offspring's Ixnay on the Ombre with the original cover. This is a 1997 pressing, original pressing of the album, and I couldn't be happier to finally have gotten this into my collection. It's a super sentimental album to me, and just super pumped to have this now in my collection. So, Offspring, Ixnay on the Ombre. All right, we'll finish up with 2 box sets that I got. The first one was my Father's Day gift to myself, really for my family. This was supposed to be my Christmas gift, believe it or not. And unfortunately for me, it got delayed until April, so I didn't get to have that. But here it is, finally. This is Mark Knopfler. This is the studio albums 1996 to 2007. Super excited to have this in my collection. Just really a big fan of not just Mark Knopfler, but his production value and things like that. And so I was super pumped when it finally dropped in price and I was able to pick it up. It comes with the following albums: Golden Heart, Sailing to Philadelphia. Now this is the only one I had actually heard before. I have the CD of it, so I knew that one. The Ragpicker's Dream, Shangri-La, and lastly, Kill to Get Crimson. So 5 studio albums released from 96 to 2006. Really excited to have these. Again, production value for Mark Knopfler is fantastic. There's also a disc of B-sides and outtakes, but that's somewhere in the other room because I haven't listened to it yet. But that also came with it. And then, of course, inside are flat pictures of the album covers. For a box set, just having the albums was cool. With the price, it came down to approximately about $25, $26 per album, and much better deal to me than the original price, which was, I believe, $250. So we're talking $50 an album. That's ridiculous. So super happy to finally pick that up. As a box set, though, I wish they would have included a little bit more. Maybe a booklet of something talking about the albums or anything like that. But they really didn't. It's pretty bare bones as far as a box set goes. But again, it's the music. I think the price on each album was worth it. Super happy to have it. All right, so now the other one I picked up. This one I picked up because the price just plummeted. And I thought, why not? Let's go ahead and do it. This is Def Leppard's Vinyl Box Volume 3. So if you can see right up above me here, there's Volume 2 up there. I did not buy Volume 1, and now I wish I did, because I would have all 3 of them. And it's insane the price that they go for online right now. So I don't have Volume 1. I'm really sad about that, and they're not in print right now. I'm hoping maybe down the line they'll do another reissue of the box so that I can complete the box set for the Def Leppards. They're really cool. They all come with a nice hardbound booklet talking about each of the albums, giving you credits and things like that on each of the albums and different things, pictures and everything else. Really well done box sets by Def Leppard. This one in particular came with the album 10, the album Yeah, and this is a covers album that they did. The album Songs from the Sparkle Lounge. A album of B-sides. A album Yeah 2, more covers that they didn't release before. I think they released them at various stages, but they put them all together in another album. And lastly, Yeah live versions of songs from the Yeah albums. So I didn't need to buy this one. I had the two albums from it that I really wanted, which were Sparkle Lounge and 10. But for the price that it dropped to, I figured why not? And now I have the extra Yeah and Yeah 2 and the live album and the B-sides. So I thought it was worth it. The price was insanely low and yeah, worth picking up. So there you have it. That is my haul for June, a large haul to say the least. Two good box sets, some killer soundtracks, record store day stuff. Just had a really good month of June as far as buying records go. Stay tuned for my July episode coming up. I've already got a few albums in that came in literally July 1st. So couldn't use them in this video, but we'll get them in the next one. And I'll see if I have time to do something else for this month as well. And of course, I have some news coming hopefully within the next week or two on my project. Really excited about it, and hopefully, like I said, in a couple weeks I can share some news about that if you are interested in that at all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up for me and leave a comment below. Love interacting with the vinyl community. Until next time, keep spinning, vinyl friends.